This is another Poets at War General Report. And here's your General, Joshua David Ling.
Good luck.
What's good, everybody? I'm back again. And I wanted to make this specifically because I have some thoughts on some massive improvements in AI technology for artists. This is not just visual art. This is not just stills. I specifically want to talk about voice and animation. One of the things that's actually been around for a little bit has been a piece of software that I've used before, and I'm still kind of waiting for somebody to get a really good, stable, affordable version of this that they can buy once and use forever and use on their own hardware. But unfortunately, everything is software as a service these days, and that's been a major issue. If you don't use a lot of different software as a service is when you pay for it on the reg. You pay monthly or you pay annually, and you get what you get. That's something that I'm very much against, not because of anything but the ability to censor, the ability to take away licenses, the ability to control an experience for a creator. Now, can you do that? And is there a problem biblically with software as a service? I would say no, but I feel like if you can give it as a tool instead of a service, it's actually a really good thing. It's like, can you buy a frying pan versus can you hire a maid or a cook, right? And so it's just a better use of money to learn to do these things, especially in the time we're in. Learn to do these things by yourself. In the area of voice, Descript is a program that is software as a service that I am investing in, partially because I need more real-time transcription. Well, not real-time, faster than real-time. I need more really well-done transcription for my work. As I'm doing more and more video like this, more audio like this, the more I need good, solid transcriptions. That's really important to me in what I do. Not just for putting into videos and captions, but also for, let's say I have a friend who I'm working on a choir piece for, and it's like a 40-minute choir piece, and we recorded the choir for probably about 3 hours total. Even though it's not great at picking up songs, there's a lot of talking in between, giving instruction, and as a result, if I go, I forget where we recorded that part, I don't have to listen to 3 hours or make educated guesses as to where it could be within that 3 hour timeline. I can actually just search for a word that is associated with that song that we recorded for and find, boom, there it is at time code XYZ. Now I realize I'm getting kind of technical. A lot of people who listen to this are writers or artists who deal very directly with analog and don't use a lot of these kind of tools. Just kind of stick with me for a minute. I've got some very interesting conclusions for you guys and anyone else who does know what I'm talking about. But the big reason that I went ahead and got Descript. By the way, for those of you who are in that camp that don't do a whole lot of technical stuff, Descript is a wonderful video editor because you can actually edit the same way you edit a Word document. In other words, it transcribes your stuff, and then you can go in and chop out a paragraph, and it will chop out that section of video. It's that easy. Obviously, there's other things you can do to really... It's not always going to be perfect, but it's darn good. But the main reason I got Descript, which is $30 a month, I had to cancel some other things in order to afford it. The main reason I got it was because of Overdub. Now, for those of you who don't know what Overdub is, it is an AI-based thing. It's actually been around for a little while. It creates, for you and your voice mainly, a clone, a carbon copy, to where you can actually say you messed up, flubbed a sentence, and you didn't record it properly, fully, or something happened where you thought you recorded it fully, but the mic cut out. Well, you can go in and you can type out the words that you're saying. And if you've already made an overdub voice, which takes about 30 minutes of recorded training, it will take your voice and insert it into that section. And it does it amazingly well. You cannot tell, unless you're really listening really, really close, that it is anything but the normal human voice you've been hearing the whole time. The other thing beyond that is you can write an article in your voice and export it as an MP3 or as a video, which is just crazy. Now, of course, you don't want to do something too long because it's going to sound a little bit more monotone. They actually do a pretty good job at inflection, but it's not going to sound as upfront and clear and clean as it normally would. And this is something I'm working on. I haven't fully trained my voice yet, but it's something that I'm working on getting into. I'm also looking to get into more audiobook reading. I've done one. Actually, I've done two, but one is not complete. For Ian Wilson, his Emrys series, and I have a good job doing that. Also, it has unlimited overdub voices, so I can actually do character voices. As long as it's coming from my mouth, there's no legal issues. But I can do my own character impressions and voices and that sort of a thing, and have those as overdubs. And so, when the time comes to edit an audiobook, sure, I can read the whole thing through, or I can read parts of it through, or if it's a nonfiction book, I might even spot record my own voice instead of spot editing with overdub. And so this is opening whole new doors, and I'm actually going to be going into doing more audiobooks. Main reason, because my family needs more money, and I don't have a lot of time given the things that I'm already doing, and the things that are actually really good jobs for me and for our family, but just aren't quite cutting it yet. So I'm going to be going into that. Now I want to talk about one other thing. So we talked about voice, we talked about audio, and the things that AI has done for that. And yeah, there's a million side things. People using this kind of thing for other people's voices, trying to, trick them, whatever. You actually have to agree on Descript that it's from your mouth, from your voice. I wish that they had more of a feature where you could have voice artists train something for you to purchase, so that you could actually have like an online store full of voices, and actually, because then I could actually have female voices alongside my own male voices. I still might do, an old granny or something, but you get the idea. So anyway, animation. We are just cracking the egg, just barely chipped through the eggshell on this amazing new technology. And this is going to take still artists to the next level. This is going to take filmmakers to the next level. There are two amazing use cases for animation right now that are just barely scratching the surface. There's a beta right now by Runway ML called Gen 1. And you can look up Gen 1, Runway ML, you can look it up anywhere, and you'll see how amazing it is. They are going with a video to video function where you can take a video and a still and re-render that video with the style of the still image. It's very obvious that it's buggy right now, and they're working on tweaking it to make it better. And, that's always the way it starts. But some of the stuff that they're doing, particularly landscapey sort of things, which is normally where you start with this sort of a thing and training it, is so incredible. If you have not looked it up, please look it up when you get the chance. The other one that's even more amazing is a process that was developed by Corridor Digital. Now, the Corridor crew, sometimes they can be foul-mouthed, whatever, with some of their videos. So I'm not giving a full, pass to Corridor Digital. But they are a film effects company. They're small. They're not a huge company. They're, a couple dozen guys. And they have an office and they work on films and things for people. and they make their own stuff. They have a YouTube channel and a couple YouTube channels actually, but that's a whole other thing. They made an anime 7-8 minute episode based on the game Rock Paper Scissors. Yes, it's a joke, but they made something that is somewhere between rotoscoping, which for those of you who don't know what rotoscoping is, you can look it up, but basically it's tracing over frames of film for, like, movies and stuff. Get some video and then trace over it, right? Trace the animation over it. Frame by frame. Somewhere between rotoscoping and an actual anime. They are using filming on a green screen mixed with Unreal Engine for the background. Unreal Engine is a 3D rendering software. And they created camera movements on the green screen and matched them with what was going on in Unreal Engine, and cobbled together the most unbelievable use case so far of Stable Diffusion, which is one of the main AI softwares out there for still images, into all the frames that you need for the animation. They fixed some major issues that have held that back, namely having consistent frame-to-frame generations of still images, right? Because you never know what an AI is going to spit out. It's not made to be consistent, but you can train it to be consistent. And that's what they did. They tweaked it, and they tweaked individual frames at times when they couldn't get it to spit out exactly what they wanted, right? So basically, instead of drawing every frame, they generated every frame, did cleanup on all of those frames, and what resulted was amazing. You should go watch the video where they make it if you're interested in the technical side. If you're not interested in the technical side, you need to go watch the 7-minute short. It is nothing short of incredible. It reminds me of something between an anime and something like Beautiful Joe from back in the day, if you guys remember that. It is stunning. And this is literally just like a dozen guys instead of a giant animation team, right? For 3D or hand-drawn. We are 5 to 10, and I'm leaning earlier, years away from a guy in his room like me being able to create his own feature animation in 2 or 3 years time versus the 40, I forget how many it was, but the crazy amount that it took for The Thief and the Cobbler. Look up that film if you haven't seen it or know of it. I am blown away by where we're going with this stuff. And there's a lot of bad people using it for bad purposes, as far as not just animation. I'm just saying AI stuff in general. There's a lot of people using it for good things. And there's a lot of legal battles considering the ethics issues surrounding this level of imagination being unleashed on the world. And I am praying that Christians grab this tech by the jugular and hold it down and conform it to the image of God and tame this incredible Mustang of a thing. I don't have a whole lot of hope in that, but I'm also hoping on the other end of the spectrum, the artistic end of this sort of thing is not going to be censored or held down nearly as hard by the enemy. And as a result, stories will be the pit that they dug for us that they fall into. Right? That the storytellers can be the ones who lead people back to the church. This podcast is called Poets at War for a reason. And poets, artists, singers, writers, whatever you are, the tools are changing in ways that we have not seen since the advent of the internet. Grab a hold of these tools and pull them under the crown rights of King Jesus and say, "These are yours, Lord." Hold the makers of this software accountable. Heck, if you're a coder, you're an artist too. Get out there, figure this stuff out, and make something even better than what's being made right now. Take it to the stratosphere. The ability to supplement imagination is something that man has searched for centuries. Let's use it rightly. Let's win this war. This has been Poets at War. I'm your General Joshua David Ling. Remember, be your family's bard. Do not turn to the right or to the left, and the Lord will be with you wherever you go. We'll see you next time in the trenches on Poets at War.